June had always dreamed of working at Sterling & Co., a powerhouse in the marketing world. Landing an internship there was her golden ticket, except she hadn't expected Ethan Sterling. The CEO was a force of nature, calculated, unyielding, a man who owned every room with nothing but his presence. She had heard the whispers: brilliant, ruthless, untouchable. He didn't tolerate mediocrity, he didn't waste time with pleasantries, and he certainly didn't concern himself with interns. June kept her head down, worked harder than anyone else, and admired him from a distance. Because men like Ethan Sterling didn't notice women like her. Until one night, he did. It was late. The office was silent, empty except for the hum of June's computer. She was deep into perfecting a campaign pitch when she felt it, an unmistakable shift in the air. She looked up. Ethan stood in the doorway, watching her. "You're still here." His voice was low, controlled. June's heart pounded, but she forced herself to stay calm. "I wanted to make sure the campaign is perfect." Ethan didn't move. He didn't offer polite approval. Instead, he stepped forward, slow and deliberate, his sharp eyes scanning the presentation on her screen. Without a word, he reached for the chair beside her desk, turned the laptop toward him, and studied her work. June held her breath. Minutes passed. He said nothing, just absorbed every detail. Then, finally, he slid the laptop back to her. "Keep going." It was the closest thing to praise Ethan Sterling ever gave. And then, just as suddenly as he arrived, he left. But something had shifted. The weeks that followed weren't gentle. Ethan was everywhere. Not in words, not in gestures, but in the way he watched. The way his gaze lingered a second too long. The way the room changed when he entered. June wasn't foolish. She knew what people were saying. They noticed the way Ethan seemed hyper-aware of her, how his jaw tightened when another man got too close. Whispers spread, jealousy brewed. Then came Claire, his ex-fiancée, regal, impeccable, ruthless. She reappeared as if she'd never left, sliding back into Ethan's world like she still belonged there. June wasn't naive. Claire was a perfect match for him. Powerful, poised, everything June wasn't. And Claire made sure she knew it. "You're ambitious," Claire mused one evening, cornering her in the break room, her smile too sharp. "That's good, but Sterling & Co. doesn't favor distractions." June met her gaze head-on. "Then it's a good thing I'm not one." Claire's smirk faltered, just for a second. Then she walked away. But the pressure mounted. The whispers turned into accusations. The board started watching June too closely, questioning her rapid rise. Ethan, always 10 steps ahead, made his move. One evening, he called her into his office. No pretense, no pleasantries. "This stops now," he said. June stiffened. "What does?" Ethan leaned back in his chair, his expression blank. "The rumors, the distractions." Her stomach twisted, but she refused to break eye contact. "And how exactly do you suggest I fix that?" "You don't." His voice was firm. "I do." The words were final, a severance. But June saw it, the tightness in his jaw, the clenched fists. He wasn't doing this for the company. He was doing it for her. So she walked out, head high, and did the only thing she could. She worked, harder than ever. The annual gala was a spectacle. Sterling & Co. Hour's biggest event of the year. And this year, it belonged to June. Her campaign launched to overwhelming success. Applause thundered through the hall, champagne glasses clinked, board members shook her hand, impressed. She had won. But Ethan didn't applaud. He moved, through the crowd, through the barriers he had built between them. By the time she turned, He was there. "You proved your point," he murmured, voice low, steady. "You didn't need me?" June's heart pounded. "No, I didn't." His gaze locked onto hers, unreadable as always. "But I need you." The words shattered everything. Before she could react, his hand slid to the small of her back, pulling her flush against him. No hesitation, no fear. Ethan Sterling didn't ask for permission. He took what he wanted, and in that moment, he wanted her. His lips crashed against hers, firm, demanding, claiming her in front of everyone without a second thought. The world blurred. The whispers, the rules, the consequences, none of it mattered. When he pulled back, his voice was rough, his control finally slipping. "This isn't a game, June. I'm done fighting this." She looked up at him breathless, heart racing. "Then stop fighting." And this time, when he kissed her again, she kissed him back. Rules be damned.